In a small, isolated village nestled deep within a dark forest, there was an old, decrepit mansion that had been abandoned for decades. The villagers called it the Blackwood House, and they spoke of it only in hushed whispers. It was said that anyone who dared to enter the house would never return. One cold, foggy night, a young man named Daniel arrived in the village. He was an urban explorer, fascinated by the tales of haunted places and unafraid of the supernatural. Hearing the villagers' warnings only fueled his curiosity, and he decided to explore the Blackwood House for himself. Ignoring the pleas and warnings of the locals, Daniel set out towards the mansion as the sun began to set. The air grew colder and thicker with every step he took, the trees seeming to close in around him. As he approached the mansion, he felt an eerie silence enveloping the place, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl. Pushing open the creaking iron gate, Daniel walked up the overgrown path to the front door, which hung loosely on its hinges. With a deep breath, he stepped inside. The air inside was stale, filled with the scent of decay. Cobwebs draped the corners, and the floorboards creaked under his weight. Armed with only a flashlight, Daniel began to explore the house. The beam of light revealed dusty furniture, old portraits with eyes that seemed to follow him, and long-forgotten belongings. He moved from room to room, his heart pounding with both excitement and an unshakable sense of dread. Suddenly, he heard a faint whisper, almost like a sigh, coming from the second floor. Determined to uncover the house's secrets, he climbed the grand staircase, the whispers growing louder and more distinct with each step. Reaching the top, he followed the sound to a door at the end of a long, dark hallway. Pushing open the door, Daniel found himself in a large bedroom. The room was dominated by a massive canopy bed, its curtains tattered and swaying gently as if stirred by an unseen breeze. The whispers now seemed to come from all around him, filling the room with an ethereal echo. In the dim light, Daniel noticed a large, ornate mirror on the opposite wall. As he approached it, the whispers turned into a cacophony of voices, pleading and crying out for help. He shone his flashlight onto the mirror, and his blood ran cold. Reflected in the mirror was not just his own image, but the shadowy figures of countless people standing behind him. Their eyes were hollow, and their expressions were of pure agony. As he stared in horror, the figures began to move closer, their hands reaching out towards him. Panicked, Daniel turned to flee, but the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The room grew colder, and the shadows in the mirror started to seep out into the room, forming a dark, swirling mist that enveloped him. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. The mist tightened around him, pulling him towards the mirror. In a final desperate effort, Daniel closed his eyes and felt himself being pulled into the icy depths of the glass. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the room. He was trapped, just another lost soul among the countless others, doomed to spend eternity in the cursed Blackwood House. The legend of the Blackwood House grew even darker, and the villagers knew that the house had claimed yet another victim. From that day on, anyone who passed by the mansion could sometimes hear faint whispers in the wind, the desperate cries of the souls trapped within, forever calling out for help.